A very good morning and welcome to another session of education and discussion on Nigeria. It is the 13th day of the month. Good morning and welcome to Koiki Media Live. I welcome you as you are all settling into the broadcast as we continue to give all the reasons. Kunle Baker is my brother. How are you, my brother? Good morning, and thank you so much for the love. I hope you're doing very well on the other side of the globe. Good morning once again, and it is another day of discussion in what is called Project Nigeria. As I continue to use my platform to educate many Nigerians and the reason why Nigeria is a failed project. It is 5:30 a.m. in London, where this transmission is coming from. Look at the headline and let's discuss again this morning. Why Nigeria will never work is because of the security cabals that are holding Nigerian back. They are the ones stealing the crude oil. They are the one bringing the Boko Haram and the terrorists into Nigeria so that so many Nigerians cannot get to the farm. The insecurity in Nigeria, we have been told continuously, has had to do with the corrupt system called the military. And there's a lot of evidence to back that. We have been told by the late Dr. Malafia Obadia that the reason why Nigeria is where it is the fact that the security are all compromised. When you get kidnapped, be rest assured that a security operative is aware of such a kidnap. It does not matter wherever you are in Nigeria. If you get kidnapped today, the security are all aware. Good morning, and once again, welcome to our early morning transmission, where we will continue to give all the reasons why the indigenous people must now be given their right to decide whether they want to be part of the Project Nigeria that was created by Lugard in 1914. 1914 is about roughly almost 108 years ago. And ever since the Project Nigeria, the lives of so many Nigerians have been held back by the military architect. Good morning and welcome to the transmission. And let us discuss again this morning. Let us tell you that as many of the vessels traveling with crude oil in Nigeria has to do with your military. They are the one protecting the crime against humanity. My name is Olayomi Koiki, and I'll be your presenter this morning to continue to highlight some of the atrocity being committed. We all remember the NSAS, as many Nigerians were concerned about the state of things until the security decided to invade a very peaceful gathering, and that led to the multiple deaths of so many Nigerians. 5:33 a.m. and we will be kickstarting as we have all the platforms ready to go. Nigeria is well known around the world for different reasons, but the reason why we are concern indigenous people is because the military in Nigeria are the one facilitating most of the atrocity that is being committed in Nigeria. I will start with T.Y. Danjuma. I'm sure a lot of you remember that T.Y. Danjuma clearly told Nigerians this.
Taraba is a mini state. It's a mini Nigeria composed of various ethnic groups living together reasonably peacefully. But the peace in this state is under assault. There's an attempt at ethnic cleansing in this.
I hope you can hear that. There's an attempt of ethnic cleansing, and this attempt is got to do with the Nigerian military. The Nigerian military is behind all the attacks going on in every part of Nigeria today. So when you hear the word terrorist, Boko Haram, bandit, do not be deceived. These are all operations carried out by the Nigerian military in this kind of outfit. When people put on this outfit, automatically, as many Nigerians would not be able to question them. And they've used that for the last 63 years in Nigeria. We've had a lot of coup. All these coups were made possible also because some civilian backed the military. Let's fast forward 63 years down the line. Many Nigerians are still suffering because of these camouflage that is put on by many criminals within the military architect. Let's go back again and listen to T.Y. Danjuma 5 years ago. And nothing has changed within the last 5 years. It has become worse even after 5 years of ethnic cleansing by the military that is backing the insecurity within every part of Nigeria today.
And of course, in all the riverine states of Nigeria. We must resist it. We must stop it. Every one of us must rise up. The armed forces are not neutral.
I'm sure you heard that very well.
They collude.
They collude with who?
They collude. They collude with the armed bandits.
Okay, the question you should then ask yourself is, why is the Nigerian military that is meant to be protecting Nigerians is colluding with terrorists? Why would the Nigerian military be the one to facilitate the crime against humanity? All these is happening because there's an hidden agenda to wipe out all the indigenous people within Nigeria context. And these are the reasons why we are saying to those that needs to know that should we not participate today, especially in the engagement of what is called Project Nigeria. Some Nigerians are not concerned because they are probably in Nigeria, and as far as they're concerned, it's got nothing to do with them. Some Nigerians are really up to the political situation in Nigeria. The civilians are not in charge. Even according to the report that came through from one of the media in Nigeria through Omoyele Sowore. Omoyele Sowore, as a lot of us know him, is also the founder of Sahara Reporter. He made a report about the Nigerian military that have been given juicy retirement so that they might not bring what they call a coup to Nigeria. And let me give you how the headline put it a week ago. Tinubu gave sacked service chief benefit to avoid another coup. The current president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, paid out a retirement package with a huge amount of money to the military architect. Remember that the new service chiefs are in charge, but the ones that were told to retire so that they do not facilitate another coup, they've been given huge package so that they can go quietly out of the vicinity of Nigeria. I was watching something on Instagram just about a few minutes before I came on air. I'm sure a lot of you are aware that Ondo State have crude oil. There is a report that Ilaje, the vessel that have been traveling into that particular local government, have been extracting crude oil for the last 12 years. And that is because the military have given the backing, especially the Navy, because the Navy and the Air Force are the one in charge of the waterways. And these outfits has always been the threat that so many Nigerians that would talk will get killed. Let's go back again one more time to T.Y. Danjuma. It's just 20 minutes before 6 a.m. London. And my name once again is Olami Koike as I continue to expose all the reasons why the indigenous people, it does not matter what part of indigenous you are, we are not one. It does not matter, we can never be one. Trying to be one would not make us one. We are being told that we are one, but everybody knows that is a big lie that was put together by the British during the 1914 non-amalgamation. Let's go back again and listen to T.Y. Danjuma as he's giving us the brief of why the military are colluding with the Fulani terrorists that are not part of Nigeria in the beginning.
They kill people, kill Nigerians.
Okay, 5 years ago was this video, and you will wonder why 5 years after, Yoruba lost 29,000 Yorubas during the 8 years of the former sadist, the most corrupt president that we've ever had in the history of Nigeria. A president that literally allowed not just the monetary aspect to be stolen out of Nigeria, but he also looked away while Fulani jihadis were allowed to penetrate into Nigeria. And today, many Nigerians are suffering the consequence of the Fulani terrorists. And I'll be telling you more about that because the late Malafia Obadia that was killed gave us the inside information that we need to know. But for now, 5 years ago, T.Y. Danjuma was very clear. The military collude with the Fulani terrorists. And the reason for that is kill Nigerians, take their land. This is happening in the northern part of Nigeria. This is happening in the southwest, in the middle belt. The middle belt have been wiped out completely out of the surface of the earth. Many are still dying up to last week, up to yesterday. Many cannot even travel within a distance from Abuja to Kaduna. Those that tried that, farmers have run and left farming. Investors that want to invest in the farming sector are scared of not being kidnapped by the jihadis that the former President Muhammadu Buhari allowed to penetrate the vicinity of Nigeria. Let's listen again to T.Y. Danjuma.
They facilitate their movements. They cover them.
So you will be wondering why the military putting on this camouflage every day, deceiving Nigerians that they are being protected. But in reverse, they are the most reason why Nigeria has failed. When we talk about Nigeria, and you do not talk about the security operatives from the military, the Nigerian military, the Nigerian Navy, the Air Force, and the other architect of the military or the security operatives in Nigeria. Today, many Nigerians will continue to suffer the consequence of what these havoc that they are producing on a daily basis. Your life will become more miserable. A lot of you will cry. You will not get the help that you expected. We saw what happened during the Chipo girls. All these are, orchestrated plan put together so that the more you can get kidnapped and killed. We've seen farmers' hands tied to the back and their head removed. All this is happening, yet little is done to protect Nigerians by the international community, whether the United Nations, the European Union, the world power, the G7, the G20. And you tend to ask, is the lives of those in America much more better than the lives of Nigerians? Is the lives of those in United Kingdom, where their military are kept in the barracks and they're only used for certain activities? Why is your life not worth it for the eyes of the international community? They've all looked away while crime against humanity is being perpetrated on a daily basis. And the question is, are you sure that those international community are really caring about you as a citizen, or they're also concerned about the resources coming out of the Southwest or the Southeast, the Middle Belt, and up to the North Central and the Northeast and wherever across Nigeria?
If you are depending on the armed forces to stop the killings, you will all die one by one.
So the question then is, if T.Y. Danjuma is giving us these clarity that if we all wait to allow the military to come and save us, we are all dead and we die one by one. Evidence continuously points that every atrocity that happened within the 36 states of Nigeria, there is always the backup from the military. The Navy is operating on the sea. Like I saw earlier, the vessel that was stopped by private security. Do you know that after they hand over these vessels with 800 tons of, crude oil back again to the Navy, the same vessel came back again with a different name? So these are the games that have been played. They've been playing the minds of Nigerians for the last 63 years. The military architect are really the one behind all the atrocities happening in Nigeria. But it seems Nigerians are looking away from the real culprit, and they're looking for someone to blame. People like us that are coming out every day and telling them that as we, the indigenous people, we should now ask the question, is it really worth being part of this corrupt entity known as Nigeria? Or is it now worth reviewing this entity, whether we still want to be part of it or not? Let's go back again at 5:48 a.m. London.
The ethnic cleansing must stop.
It was very clear. Ethnic cleansing. When we say ethnic cleansing, it's not the first time that ethnic cleansing is happening. But let's see what the meaning of ethnic cleansing ethnic cleansing. What does it mean? For the benefit of those that do not understand what we are really dealing with, as we continue to give reasons why we should then stop being part of Project Nigeria if we really want to have a better life. Project Nigeria is not meant for us. It is not going to save you and me. Project Nigeria was put together by Lugard, working on behalf of the British Empire in the 1900s. But today, it seems that Nigerians think that with the help of a new democracy that is now in its 2 decades, it will solve the problem. If that is going to solve ethnic cleansing, and according to the English dictionary, rendering an area ethnically homogeneously by using force or intimidation to remove from a given area persons or another ethnic or religious group, which is contrary to international law. That is the full meaning of ethnic cleansing. So when you hear the word ethnic cleansing in Nigeria, just understand that it is part of the game to remove you from that particular area, because there is something underneath that area that should last the indigenous people for years and decades. But the military, the security have all decided to collude and work against, these ethnic groups. We are ethnic people, indigenous people called the Yorubas. We have them as well up in the north. We have them in Plateau State. We have them in the southeast. But there is something that is happening. And as many Nigerians are probably saying, no, don't worry too much. We can resolve this problem internally. But this camouflage is what they've used to destroy Nigeria during all the coup from the 60s, when we got a regional government. We had a peaceful arrangement from United Kingdom in 1957, 58, 59. There was a campaign for a new independent country called Nigeria. But not knowing that behind the scene, the West was also protecting their interest, and they were literally using the northern part of Nigeria for that interest. And that literally meant that when we had what it called independence, even though, quote and unquote, we now understood that there was nothing independent in what we got in 1960. It was a fraudulent election of 1959 that was rigged by the British government. I mean, you can imagine, rigging an election in UK at this particular time in history. The British citizen will be very, very upset. But since it's happening in Africa, in Nigeria, it does not matter. Let's look away. Let's rig the election and force another ethnic group against the rest of the ethnic groups, even though they want to live together, but separate. Just like we have the British, the English are complaining now about too many immigration in UK, but they are not talking about the crime and atrocity committed by their forefathers in what is known as Africa. Now we have many Africans trying to get into Europe, and the Europeans are trying to stop that through immigration control. But for 200 years, the British Empire thought that they could decide our fate, control what belongs to us as our territory, take what they think that they can bring out of those territory and bring them to UK and make their country to be an industrialized area. During the World War I, they had to force people from Nigeria, in that geographical location, force them into a war that has nothing to do with us. The same thing occurred in World War II. And during all this period, the borderline were changed, names were given to people, whether you like those names or not. Location was removed and other locations were injected. And these went on and on up until the formation of Nigeria. So when we eventually got Nigeria in 1960, everybody thought maybe after the colonial era that they've decided to keep us together. We then thought we can start a better opportunity known as the regional government. The reason why the Scottish would never want to live in England is because they are doing very well, even though they are now asking also for their independence out of this great union put together, by their forefathers. Ethnic cleansing is happening in Nigeria, but it seems many Nigerians probably do not even understand what is really ethnic cleansing and is this allowed under international law. Let's go further into what the Europea.eu is telling us when it comes to ethnic cleansing. And this is coming from the Migration and the Home Affairs. Definition. The definition of ethnic cleansing, ETHNI. Yoruba are ethnic. We are not a tribe. The Igbos are ethnic. The Hausa are ethnic. All these 250 ethnic was forced together and then expect to live side by side without, quote and unquote, any kind of conflict. But fast track or fast forward, these continues to be an hindrance to the development of some part of Nigeria today, because one particular ethnic known as the Fulanis still want to dominate, subjugate, oppress the rest of the ethnic groups. But according to the EU Migration and Home Affairs definition, rendering an area ethnically homogeneous by using force. And when I say force, this is what they put on. We've seen even up to yesterday, according to the military themselves, on their Twitter feed, which I picked up during my engagement yesterday. And the military killed certain criminal within Nigeria. But do you know that when the picture of those criminal was put on their Twitter feed, which I'm going to share in case you want to go and confirm that, you can go to the military Twitter handle. And this was posted yesterday, 9 hours ago. The Nigeria troops clearing ambush in Mangu annihilated 3 bandits. The word bandit is what Buhari refused to change. And I'll explain that to you in the course of this program. Calling them terrorists means a definition under international law. Calling them bandits also have a different meaning under international law, or quote and unquote. There's a difference between the word bandit and there's a difference between the word terrorist. But the former president, the sadist, he has returned back to Daura. I saw a picture of him strolling in his environment after leaving London again. According to the picture I have here, one of those killed literally had a police. They're all the same. It does not matter whether they are police, they're all the same. All the security in Nigeria, they're all criminals anyway. This particular one had a police badge with the gun, killed already by the military, because he has been operating like that. But as many Nigerians believe that when there is a crime going on in Nigeria, because there are some certain groups of people, or quote and unquote, those that want the right to self-determination, they literally pin the crime against them. So people like the Biafra, we are always told that whatever atrocity is happening in the Southeast is committed by the Biafra, even though there's no evidence to show that. But yesterday, the military, the Nigerian army, on their Twitter handle at HQ Nigerian Army, you can check that yourself. I told you a lot, you must have a Twitter account so that you can follow development of what is happening. There's a picture that they've posted with a police badge on the individual that has been killed. This individual would have been operating day before yesterday. This individual, because he has a police badge, he would have stopped vehicles. Vehicles will have thought, this is a security operatives, let us stop. Not knowing that these are the same criminals that are perpetrating the crime against humanity. So the question is our life different from the lives of the people in the West? Are we now saying that those that live in the western part of the the world that I am living, their life means better to them, and the lives of those in the other side in Nigeria or West Africa, it does not matter, as long as they still call their relationship between the West and the other side of Africa? Let's go back again to the definition of ethnic cleansing, because the word ethnic cleansing came out from T.Y. Danjuma. T.Y. Danjuma is a highly educated man, and he knew that using that word would not be a mistake. Some might not even understand the meaning of ethnic cleansing. You just hear it, ethnic cleansing. What does it mean? According to sources under the United Nations Council final report of the Commission of Experts established pursuant to Security Council Resolution 780 of 1992. All these are resolutions that were put together to protect indigenous people. But it seems that it is only happening in certain part of the world, because I'm not sure that the Scottish would not be respected as an ethnic group. The Welsh have been respected. But why come the Yorubas, the Igbos, the Hausas, and the rest of the ethnic groups in Nigeria are not respected, even up to Plateau State? It's because there is an agenda. And that agenda, we were also told by the former comrade Olakunle Olawumi, that told us categorically that there are groups of people, and this group of people want to Islamize Nigeria. You might think, all this is just a mere say, it's not going to happen. It might not happen 10 years now. It might not happen 20 years from now. But in the long run, they will overrun every single ethnic groups. They will become powerful. They will become strong, military-wise. They will, at the moment, they've had a stoppage because the new government of Bola Tinubu will put a bit of stoppage to it, but they also have a limited time of 8 years, or should we say the first 4 years? That's if it happened to get another 4 years. After that, power goes back again to the North. The North thinking is different from me and you. They are not thinking the way we are thinking. It has always been like that. Even the British were asking that, why don't you want to go with the line of the others? Because you can't stay on your own. We had that from the Harold Smith told us categorically that when the North decided that we don't want to be part of Nigeria, the British were like, are you really sure you can cope on your own? You can't cope on your own. You need to be part of these Project Nigeria so that you can survive. So let's now look at, and ethnic cleansing has been translated to different languages, according to the document that I'm reading from here. So let's see what it says. Genocide. The word genocide is happening in the southeast of Nigeria. But because Nigeria do not like the Biafra, they think that they are the one destroying Nigeria. But in reality, Ondo State, I saw that on Instagram, vessel have been removing crude oil for the last 12 years. That is not the Biafra land. That is the Yoruba territory. And those that are committing this atrocity are Nigerian military, the Navy, But as many Nigerians are thinking that the Biafra wants to destroy Nigeria, but Nigeria has been destroyed from 1960. There was nothing called Nigeria because the British backed up another ethnic group against these ethnic groups, and they're being marginalized anyway. So whatever you say, the Igbos have been marginalized, just as we have been marginalizing them. They will marginalize us as well if they have the opportunity. Is tick for tat, or I'm sure you understand what I mean. But the question is, why should we allow a certain ethnic group to dominate, subjugate others, so that we can keep this fraudulent entity called Nigeria? Let's listen again to T.Y. Danjuma one more time without no interruption this time around. But let me quickly tell you part of what the General Assembly resolution. Look, if genocide happens around the world, Bosnia was one situation, as the governor also refer in its preamble to the adorant policy of ethnic cleansing. Muslims in that particular region were wiped off. Trial chamber judgment of 2nd of August 2001 of the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia has observed, while there were obvious similarities between a genocidal policy and a policy commonly known as ethnic cleansing, yet a clear distinction must be drawn between physical destruction and a mere dissolution of a group. The explosion of a group of part of the explosion of a group or part of a group does not in itself suffice for genocide. Number three, these legal documents thus stated that crimes committed during an ethnic cleansing are similar to those of genocide. But why genocide includes an intent at complete or partial destruction of a target group, which the Nigerian military are doing to the southeast. They continuously target those regions to destroy everything destroyable and then pin that on those agitating for the Biafra exit. Ethnic cleansing may involve murder. We've seen too many thousands, millions, 5 million Igbos were killed during the 3-year war. Do you know that this time, 1967, July, that we are in right now, the civil war going on in Nigeria? This time, 1967, that civil war was between the Igbos and the British. It was not a Nigerian war. The British wanted to crush them and make sure that they would not have any reason to rise up again and look them into the face. But that is not happening because fast forward almost decades now, the same set of group of people are put up together and they're now looking back again to the eyes of the British and say, should you not come on the round table and let us discuss this entity called Nigeria? This entity would not be conducive for every single one of us. You might think it's all joke. Every one of you might laugh it off and say that they can't do anything. Remember that the Igbos fought the British for 3 years. That war was between the British government and the Biafra. And for 3 years, they were able to hold down for good 3 years. 1967 is not 2023. Things have become much more, advanced. Communication in 1967 was very limited. Even if the Igbos that were outside, I'm talking about the diaspora, wanted to support them, they would not be able to do so because as at that time, there was less communication. Some of them will probably not even know that in their region, there's a civil war going on. 5 million people died. Nigeria government of Gowon said it was just a little fracas. So when we talk about ethnic cleansing, These may involve also the murder only to the point of mobilizing the target group. T.Y. Danjuma told us that it is not just in Plateau State. So if any one of you think that this is happening in Bauchi, it's not coming to my territory, let it just stay there. It's not going to happen. We will not get ethnic cleansing in Yoruba land. But we're seeing, ethnic cleansing already in Yoruba land. We've seen it in Kaduna. El Rufai is behind as many of these other crimes going on. So all these atrocities seems to be neglected, overlooked by the international community. And there's always a target. And there may be a very degree of mass murder in an ethnic cleansing, often subsidizing when the target groups appears to be leaving the desired territory, while during genocide, the mass murder is uncourteous and constant throughout the process. So when people are running away from their territory, then somebody take over that territory. Look, it doesn't matter. In a one little location, there might be resources underneath. All they need to just kill as many of those people within those territory and the rest run away. And they will then have access to that area without anybody looking into what is going on. There is if vessel can move out of Ilaje in Ondo State with crude oil, you can imagine what is happening within the territory known as your own territory, whether in Plateau State, whether in Zaria, whether in Zamfara, whether in Bauchi, whether in Kaduna, whether in Plateau, Jos. It does not matter, up to the 36th state of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Your security are the one behind all these atrocities. Let's listen again to T.Y. Danjuma.
Taraba is a mini state. It's a mini Nigeria composed of various ethnic groups living together reasonably peacefully. But the peace in this state is under assault. There's an attempt at ethnic cleansing in this state and of course in all the riverine states of Nigeria. We must resist it. We must stop it. Every one of us must rise up. The armed forces are not neutral. They collude. They collude. They collude with the armed bandits that kill people, kill Nigerians. They facilitate their movements. They cover them. If you are depending on the armed forces to stop the killings, you will all die one by one. The ethnic cleansing must stop in Taraba State, must stop in all the states of Nigeria. Otherwise, Somalia will be a child's play.
Don't let toxins build
I
up in
ask
your body.
every
Try
one
these
of
new
you
smart patches.
to be alert and defend your country.
Okay, defend your country. Many Nigerians do not understand. But somebody gave us another angle from the insecurity. Good morning, Ashati Shele Yoruba, and welcome to the live transmission. We had another angle from someone that met with this terrorist. They met a couple of times, not once, not twice, not 5 times, and they gave him the information that whatever is happening in Nigeria is the backing of some of your governors that are now pleading on behalf of the same terrorists to be given soft landing. Let's listen to the late Dr. Malafia Obadia, the former deputy governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, an Oxford, graduate. And when they're Oxford, is it Oxford or Cambridge? They don't talk nonsense. Let's listen to him.
Intelligence networks.
Okay.
Have our own intelligence networks.
Okay.
Have met with some of the bandits. We have met with some of their high commanders. One or two who have returned. They have sat down with us, not once, not twice. They told us that one of the northern governors is the commander of Boko Haram in Nigeria. Boko Haram and the bandits are one and the same thing. They have a sophisticated network. During this lockdown, their planes were moving up and down as though there was no lockdown. Moving ammunitions, moving logistics, moving money, and distributing them in different parts of the country. They're already in the south, in the rainforest of the south. They're everywhere. They told us that when they finish these rural killings, they will move to phase 2. The phase 2 is they will go into the urban cities, going from house to house, killing prominent people. I can tell you, this is the game plan. By 2022, they want to start a civil war in Nigeria. Don't joke with what I'm saying. I have a PhD from Oxford University. I'm a central banker. We don't talk nonsense. So don't joke with what I'm telling you. I have this from the highest possible authority, higher authorities of some of the commanders of the killers and Boko Haram.
You said northern governors, past or present, Dr. Badaya.
No, current.
Okay.
Current.
You heard him clearly there. Let's again, good morning and welcome to 16 minutes past 6 a.m. London. Today is the 13th day of July 2023. We're talking about ethnic cleansing, why the military are the one behind a majority of the reason why Nigeria will never prosper. What is the United Nations actually saying when it comes to ethnic cleansing? What is the UN, the organization set up to protect, lives and property? Good morning to those of you that have joined. Let me appreciate some of you quickly before we move into the next segment. Good morning, Mr. Kunle Shita. Good morning, Pastor Mo. You also went further to say the mass murder was one that took place in Owo Church and the Yewa and the Imeko area in the Yoruba land. Our people should not keep quiet. Good morning, Waris Jinadu went further to say genocide kills people while ethnicider kills social culture through the killing of individual souls. E.g., Biafran was a genocide plight by the Nigerian Fulani military Janjaweed that colluded. You're quite right. There's difference between ethnic cleansing and genocide. Also, Omitola Kende, very good morning to you. Chibuzo, you went further to say the global best practice is to build a nation, is to build a nation around the tribe, the unique value system and the worldview, like the Japan for the Japanese, the Korean for the Koreans, the France for the French, and why not the Yoruba nation for the Yoruba and the Igbos, or the Igbo for the Iborans as well. You also went further to say, Chibuzo, Nigeria is a forced marriage of irreconcilably and divergent value system, whereas a unified versus is the prerequisite of the nationhood. Waris Jinadu went further to say, but the Nigerian military get ranks through coup d'etat, looting, suppressing civilian rights, civilian politics, violating human rights. Thank you so much. Olaoye J, good morning to you. Scars Gold, good morning. And my brother that joined us at the beginning, Kunle Bakers, and I'm sure some of you will be getting ready to go to bed. Only if you're working late night in Canada and America, you'll probably be able to still be awake. Good morning, God Last Brown. You went further to say Koiki Media International. Adejumo, Ismaila, good morning to you as well. Good morning to our listeners on the TikTok. I hope we've been able to serve you in the last couple of days that we started our live transmission on the TikTok. Oladejo Arikekola. Oh, okay, I know the person behind that. That is some of our brothers. I say good morning to you. I hope the family are doing very well. Good morning, Tony Ages, Toby Adeolu. Good morning. Good morning to Mrs. Ramatus, Majek for Care. That's the cleaning services here in UK. Thank you so much for joining. T-Link, thank you. Persin 106. I hope that it sounds like my friend Percy. Good morning to those of you that have joined us on the Instagram as well. Let me appreciate those of you on the MixLR before I move straight into the next segment. Shaki will say, enough of all these atrocities. I am personally tired and ready to go along with Babaki Toye's decision and his order. Toby Adeoluwo, you went on to say good morning. Good morning as well to the 5 listeners. You haven't put any comment on the MixLR, so I would not be able to know who is there, but I do know that Comrade Plan B are the ones that will probably have put a comment and hacking game. But whoever are those listening, the MixLR, we pay for it. They've just removed the money yesterday. It cost me £19.99, almost less than $20, just 1 cent below. And that gives me a 12 hours of audio that people can listen to. It's not a radio, but it's just the audio version. The technology is becoming better on a daily basis. During the Civil War, all these were not there. And that makes it different, what we are doing today, because we are able to come out without waiting for NTA transmission. I don't have to wait for channels transmission. I don't have to wait for the BBC, the CNN. So we should thank the technology of our era that can allow me to turn on my phone, my 2 laptops, and my 3 mobile phone that I'm using, and I can communicate. Some are not on Facebook, but we can communicate with you. So the MixLR is more of an audio version. It also saves you much more data. So for those of you that complain that our program is just too long, maybe sometimes you don't really need to see my face. It's the same face. You don't need to see what we are discussing. You can just go and listen to it. You save data. But if you have access to internet in Nigeria, there's nothing I can do. You can sit down and watch it, like this. But if you're complaining, maybe you want to switch to the MixLR. That is the reason why we're trying our best. Some of you complain that the YouTube takes a much data, Facebook. I don't know how these things work in Nigeria. I am not in Nigeria. It's a crazy country. Nigeria, like Dr. Kibiorun said, is not just a zoo, it's a dungeon that should be thrown out and allow the real indigenous people, the ethnic groups, to build what is called a civilized system. Let me appreciate those of you that have joined us as well. Mokiyawa Ashatishe. I want to speak in English, and I have a reason for that. So please don't tell me, speak Yoruba. You are not the one to control what I do here, because sometimes when I come out like this, I am communicating to the international community, and I want them to know what I'm discussing, so that when something happens in the future, they will not say, this guy was not speaking. I can reference the date, the time. I can say, go and look at my video, and that is the reason why I am speaking in English. So don't come here and tell me I speak in Yoruba. We speak Yoruba at the appropriate time. Every program has its own message. This message this morning is being documented, just as all the videos that we do in the last 3 years. Thank you so much, Mr. Peter Okochumuno. Sahid Balogun, I'm not sure is not the one that is acting movie, because those ones are not in support of what we are doing. You went out say, my brother, how was your night? My night has been very good. You can see that I'm up and running. I slept very, very early after the broadcast yesterday, and that is why I can wake up and start the program without, and I don't have to give anybody notification that I'm coming live. It's up to you to be there. If you're not there, you watch it after I've done it. I have told you the Koiki Media is a 24-hour platform. I don't have to give, I'm coming out today, I'm not coming out tomorrow. We can come out as many times from any part of the world. I have 25 teams that are working with me. They can come out anytime. I have a lot of freelance media that are also operating on my behalf in different countries, and they can also be live and report on our behalf. So good morning once again, Mr. Shitu Amon with me. Let's move swiftly. Adekunle Ramon, good morning. Good morning, Joseph Oladapo. And please don't ever compare me with all these Bolekaja blogging platform. I am a media. I'm fully registered in UK. I've been operating in UK in the last 25 years of my life living here. And I've also set up a lot of different entities. I was at some point an IT technician. I can repair laptops and computers. I can install Windows. I can also dismantle a laptop. So what we are doing right now is just that is a change of position, profession. So I've done a lot of things in my life. So right now I am using every strength and my energy to educate you idiot in Nigeria that doesn't know the reason why Nigeria is not going to function. This outfit is the reason why you're scared anyway in the first place. Idiot all over the place. So you listen. Good morning to you, Mr. Ola Iyabo. So let's go to the next segment again, the United Nations. What is the United Nations saying when it comes to ethnic cleansing? And I'm okay, what I should be doing as well, I should be sharing my link with you because some of you would like to go back and read yourself. If otherwise, you cannot, I mean, that's if you want to go further. So I'm sharing whatever I'm reading right now. I'll be sharing the link. Ogbara, I just cite you. Let me, okay, I didn't say good morning to those of you on this side. Mr. Ogbara, thank you so much. I believe we normally miss people. Okay, this is the Koiki Media. So I should go to Koiki Media, not Koiki Oduduwa, because sometimes, because we are cross-posting this transmission, and I tend to miss people on the Koiki Media. So let me go there and appreciate them before we go to the other segment of ethnic cleansing. So let me open this. I should go to Koiki Media, not Koiki. Bear with me. Let me, yeah. There, I can tell, definitely. There are a couple of people there because we are operating. Let me say this. I don't have Olayomi Koiki Facebook. If anybody is communicating, one of our mother sent message, she's even in Nigeria. She said, Koiki, somebody is communicating with you, with me, with her rather, on Olayomi Koiki Facebook. I don't have any Olayomi Koiki on Facebook. I had it before from 2007. It's been taken away after we started the movement. If anybody is pretending to be me and you are not checking, I don't have a Nigerian number. If you go and work with anybody and they give you any reason for you to send anything to them or whatever, that's your problem. It's not my problem. I don't have Olayomi Koiki. I have Koiki Media. Make sure the spelling. There are too many criminals. There are criminal Yoruba and criminal Igbos and criminal Nigerians that will try to frustrate what we are doing and pretend to be me. And even though it is not me. So be very careful. We have Koiki Media Oduduwa and we have the page. That is two. And then we have Koiki Media. Listen again. And let me just say this in Yoruba. Mo ni Facebook Kokontonjo Olayomi Koiki. I don't have a Nigerian number. I don't communicate on the Facebook Messenger. I read all your messages, but I would never ask you, send me anything on the Facebook Messenger. So if anybody communicates with you with all this area, you are on your own. I am a public figure now. People are trying to pretend to be me. So good morning, Ayomi Kon Damiju, Nigeria, the capital of the jungle. Prince Adebayo say good morning. Iyaodua, I cite you all the way in Manchester. I hope the twins are doing very well. I'm sure they've now graduated. I hope they have a job now and they're already paying you for the good work you have done as a mother. We love you so much and thank you so much for standing with the truth, because some of our sisters, aunties that we started together, they've gone away from the truth. And all I can say is that they will come back, but I would then be able to know what to say to them. We sat here educating you for 2 years until Olori Buruku Dupe Oloshi, bomb pastor, the 419, came into the movement and pretend to be what she's not, telling you she's communicating. Do you know what the word is all about? I don't think some of you understand how the word works. She's sending letter to who? By where? Through email or through writing, through DHL. Crazy woman. And some of you fall for that nonsense. Yeah, we all fall for it at some point. But when we realize that it's lies, we pull back. But some of our brothers, uncles, close friends that we started together are now thinking that she would lead them into an interim government. She must be crazy. So do you think that Dupe can take Lagos House of Assembly on your behalf? Bomb bastard, every single one of you. They're here in UK, in America, in Nigeria. Let's even talk about those in Nigeria. Those ones have been forgotten people anyway. But what about those of you outside? Is that the way you are operating outside? Can you just go and take your local government in Manchester? Idiot all over the place. So to you now, because Dupe is a woman, she will lead you into a Yoruba or Ominira country. Bomb bastard. Do you understand how the world works? I don't think some of you understand how the world works. Let them continue to deceive you. I've told you, even Ijile doesn't have a 10,000 subscriber on his YouTube. So you think that Ijile message is get to his own town, in his own town in Ondo State. Some of you are crazy, man. I don't even understand how we got to where, some of you don't get the message. We have 191 local government in Yoruba land, from Kwara up to Lagos State, 191. And you think that Dupe will bring in an interim government to hold 191 local government, and those within those local government will just slip away. Unbelievable. How did we get to where idiots, gullibles, people that work in America, I thought that some of you have brains. I now realize that you can live anywhere does not mean anything. I have lived there for 25 years. I know how diplomacy works. And if you don't know, maybe you should focus more on what they call international foreign policy. Do you know that Ukraine is still struggling to get into NATO? Do you know that? Do you know that Turkey is getting a bargaining chip that if Sweden, I hope I'm right, yes, if Sweden is going to be given a NATO membership, then Turkey should be also given a European membership. Don't you know that all these things is not an easy task? And then you think that because somebody sits on this computer and is talking to everybody. Do you think that the way I'm talking like this, everybody is listening to me around the world? It's just a fraction of people that are listening to us. So you think because we sit here now, so the whole world is listening to you. How do you think so? The whole world doesn't work like that. And I just pity as many idiot Yoruba people, especially those of you in diaspora, that fall into that nonsense trap. I understand you think that we are the enemies, but time will tell who is the enemy and who is not. But one thing is, Dupe cannot take you to anywhere. All our rhetorics will only be on less than 10,000 subscribers on Ijile. Ijile doesn't have 10,000 subscribers on his YouTube. Even with the amount of some of you listening to him, he doesn't have 10,000 subscribers. And I don't think you understand what that means. Idiot all over the place. So you think that because you sit there on the screen, they're doing whatever they are doing. As far as they're concerned, they are doing movie. They are running a movie script. How we all got to where we are now is what I don't understand. Anyway, let's move swiftly. I don't want to waste too much of my energy time then, but I just have to highlight for the benefit of those idiots, that are sitting down and think that Dupe will start an interim government and 191 local government will fall for her like that. Idiot all over the place. Good morning, Bayole, Greg. Good morning, Grandma Comfort, Adileye, Akim, Ayodele, good morning. And I just spotted Rodney, good morning to you. And Turkey will hardly be accepted by EU. Definitely. You think that, Turkey will give, European Union will allow Turkey to become EU. Some of you don't understand what is called foreign policy. So when she's telling you she's writing letters, just look at it as she needs to be in a mental home to be taken care of. So let's come back to the conversation, the United Nations. And I believe I should zip my tea because it could get cold quickly. Very nice. Good morning once again. It's 6:34. What I'm going to do quickly, because I want to go back into ethnic cleansing. When we talk about ethnic cleansing is happening almost on a daily basis around the world. But it seems that they are hiding ethnic cleansing for me and you. Now, let's talk about ethnic cleansing under the United Nations. What is United Nations telling us on ethnic cleansing? And I think I have something 5 years ago. United Nations Minor, MYANMAR. I'm sure some of you have heard about them. The Rohingya Muslim at risk of ethnic cleansing. Let's listen to this clip from Al Jazeera 5 years ago.
Is only getting worse, and the UN says that explains why 123,000 people have fled across the border into Bangladesh in just over a week. They have...
Did you hear that? 500 people are fleeing their territory because somebody's going to keep that territory for themselves. Good morning to you, IB Face for Real on Instagram, and thank you so much. You went on to say, Mr. Koiki, good morning, sir, and all the fans of Koiki Media. Thank you all for those of you that have joined us so far. Let's move on swiftly. There's still a lot to discuss.
Horrific stories.
Some reported that their family members were burnt or shot or slapped.
Some reported that their family members were burnt or shot, just as T.Y. Danjuma was telling us as well. It is not just only in Nigeria. Ethnic cleansing is happening around the world. But what is the definition of ethnic cleansing from the United Nations that I'm going to report right now? And I believe I've shared the link. Let's see. Not sure yet. I've shared the link on the Facebook yet. So you can click on those links should you want to know a little bit more about it. Well, we're going to discuss that this morning. My name is Olami Koiki, and one out of so many media working to make sure that indigenous people knows their right, and their right should be respected by the federal government of Nigeria, because we don't have to be in Nigeria. It's not a must to be part of that system. At the moment, it's called Nigeria. There's nothing we can do to that. But one day, Nigeria will eventually wind down. Good morning, Silver Gold. Once again, Pastor Mon said the Rohingya people have no safe land till date. And this is what is going to happen in Nigeria if care is not taken. Ethnic cleansing, according to United Nations, ethnic cleansing has not been recognized as an independent crime under international law. The term surfaced in the context of the 1990 conflict in the former Yugoslavia and is considered to come from a literary translation of the Serbo-Croatian expression ethniko, sinji. However, the precise root of the term or who started using it and while are still uncertain. But everybody knows that ethnic cleansing started in the 90s, 1990 in Yugoslavia, between the Serb and the Croatian. The expression ethnic cleansing, ETHNIC. We are ethnic people. Yoruba ethnic, Igbo ethnic, Hausa Igbo, Hausa ethnic, Kanuri ethnic, people within the 36 geographical location of Nigeria. We are ethnic people. That is why they will tell you that Nigeria has 250 different ethnic groups. We are not tribes. So the expression ethnic cleansing has been used in resolution of the Security Council. The word resolution of Security Council is what I have told you, that until Nigeria is forced into a resolution within the Security Council, especially on behalf of those of us asking for the right to self-determination. But such is not going to happen quickly if we are going through the route we are doing right now. Because as far as the United Nations is concerned, there's no problem in Nigeria apart from few stingy problem, insecurity, economic, and all that. But when it comes to the reality of the Yoruba self-determination, United Nations is not going to sit on the round table and facilitate a resolution because we are not in conflict. If we were in conflict, I can assure you today, United Nations will sit and they will start a resolution on behalf of Nigeria. But because we are not fighting, there's no conflict in Nigeria. I'm saying between us and the Nigerian government. There's no conflict between Nigeria and between Nigeria and the Biafra, even though there's a lot of infighting that is going on within Nigeria. But the United Nations has not classified it yet enough to sit down and have a resolution. But there has been resolution on ethnic cleansing. And the military in Nigeria are behind the ethnic cleansing of our people, whether they are not Yorubas or Yorubas. But across Nigeria today, those in charge of protecting your lives, those in charge of facilitating your welfare in terms of being able to move from point A to B, are the one compromising the security architect of Nigeria. And this has been going on for a very long time. But Nigerians are in denial, and they hope that by now things will change. Even though Bola Tinubu, the president, has been in power now a month plus, but yet more than 8,000 Nigerians have been killed by the same security protecting terrorists in Nigeria. So the expression ethnic cleansing has been used in resolutions of the Security Council and General Assembly, and has been acknowledged in judgment and indictment of the ICTY, although it did not constitute one of the counts for persecution. A definition was never provided. Let's go further. Definition. As ethnic definition, as ethnic cleansing has not been recognized as an independent crime under international law, there is no precise definition for this concept or extract act to be qualified as ethnic cleansing. A United Nations Commission of experts mandated to look into violations of international humanitarian law committed in the territory of the former Yugoslavia defined ethnic cleansing in its interim report S/25274 as rendering an area ethnically homogeneous by using force or intimidation to remove a person or given groups from the area. So what is happening in Nigeria, as an example, is that they are using force to remove us from our territory. It might not be a big territory that they are using. We know that Ondo State is still big, but do you know that in certain local government in Ondo State, people are now forcefully moved out of that area because there's a good amount of crude oil? Do you know that the security of Tompolo that intercepted a vessel in the last 72 hours, this vessel has been taking crude oil in Ilaje in Ondo State, while Ilaje people have been forced out by the military. If you're not going to listen to them, they will kill you. But in the last 12 years, Ilaje people have not enjoyed the crude oil, but the military have facilitated. They've been working in conjunction with their criminal partners outside Nigeria to move. Go on the Twitter and look at the vessel. This same vessel was stopped by the security operatives of Tompolo, again, that was employed by the same government. He intercepted the vessel moving crude oil out of Ilaje in Ondo State. We are not talking about the north now. So when some of you are saying that, this Yoruba nation, it doesn't concern me, but your local government called Ilaje, and let's go and look at Ilaje and get a better understanding. So when we say Ilaje, Ilaje in Nigeria, let's give you a background. The Ilajes are one of the most dynamic and enterprising people in Nigeria. Their aquatic skill, coupled with their ability to adapt, enable them to conquer. But they can't conquer anything because the military has literally taken over your territory. Definitely, Akure is still in the hands of the Yorubas, but Ilaje is no longer with us because Ilaje is where the crude oil that should be taking care of every one of us in Ondo State, even under the fraudulent constitution called Nigeria. But rather, for 12 years, 12 good years, they've been stealing oil from Ilaje. The Ilajes are distinct migratory coastal linguistic group of Yoruba people spread along the coastal belt of Ondo, Ogun, Lagos, and Delta State, and originally made up of 4 geopolitical entities, namely Ode, Ugbo, Ode Mahi, Ode Etikan, and Ahiri. I hope I pronounce all these very well. So when some of you are now saying that, hey, but Ondo State is still there. No, you've lost Ilaje already. Ilaje is no longer part of your system. I mean, it's not part of your territory because those within Ilaje have been wiped off because there's a good amount of crude oil in that vicinity. So when people are now saying, hey, I am from Ondo State, but I'm not interested in Yoruba nation. Okay, fair enough. But your territory is no longer in your possession. You've lost Ilaje. Ilaje that is meant to be part of your local government is no longer part of it because it's now being used as siphon. For 12 years, they've been moving crude oil from Ilaje, and you, Ondo citizen, are here complaining about me from what I'm doing because you don't want to support it. But you are there every day in the prayer section on YouTube. I see you there, Ondo people. I see you. You go to Mecca. But your territory is no longer in your possession. One day, I've told you, your grandchildren will pour acid on your grave. Let's go further on that Ilaje to expatiate on my discussion this morning. Oil theft have been going on for decades. Let's go back to 2022, according to this video. Crude oil theft in Nigeria, ways to stop it. They can't stop it because those behind it are these young cabal men, whether they are old, whether they are... Look, the big men are in Abuja, but those that put on these, the young military, some of them are Yorubas, some of them are Igbos, some of them are whatever, and some of them are foreigners. They are the one that bring the gun, protect the vessel. Who is going to stop a vessel that has a navy with guns and military in guns? Who's going to stop it? Do you know that Ilaje now is no longer in your possession? It's gone. You've lost it. But today, you are more concerned about me. Now, let's go into... I'm going to open this so that I can open it on my phone. So bear with me so that we can listen to some of these atrocities. Ilaje is no longer in your care. You've lost it already. So if you're from Ondo State, forget it. Ilaje is no longer part of Ondo. It is now a territory conquered already. So if any one of you is still from Ondo State this morning, I'm sorry, you have lost one of your local government to the Fulani terrorists. You might think it's a joke. Send your people to Ilaje and see that that area is no longer in their possession. You might see 1 or 2 people, not that everybody will run away, but those that stay must abide by the rules and regulation of the military. Do you think that Tinubu can stop all this atrocity? That is why Showore told us that Tinubu paid off all the service chiefs so that no one of them can come back for a coup. Sowore suggested that Tinubu gave the SAC service chiefs a retirement package to avoid them overthrowing his government. Do you think that they cannot overthrow Tinubu's government? I told you last year, it's still in my document, I think around February, there might still be a coup in Nigeria. There's nothing to say that they cannot facilitate a coup. These military do not want to leave. They are working in partnership with other people around the world. And when I was discussing these last year, some of you might think it might not happen. It might still happen. Don't rule anything out. And I believe it was at the beginning of February, if I'm right, we had, yes, on the 1st of February, this year, yeah, we're still in 2023, yeah. On the 1st of February, I told you, during my discussion on Star Radio UK, number one is the coup. I told you last year that there was imminent to coup, but because Yoruba people and Nigerians are gullible, oh, how do you know this information? Who are you to tell us that there will be coup? But let's fast forward. How many months after February that I told you? Sowore is saying the same thing. So where did Sowore got his own information? Because I told you that coup was the most important thing that they were putting together. They knew that we know. So if there was any coup as at that time, we, the campaigner of Yoruba Nation, we move in because they know that. So they have to delay that again. So when we are talking, some of you don't understand that intelligence is coming from right inside their own source, just as the late Malafia told us that he had credible intelligence. And he don't joke, because as an Oxford graduate, they don't joke. Let's just hear what he had to say.
Because some of us also have our own intelligence networks.
Okay.
Have met with some of the bandits. We have met with some of their high commanders. One or two who have repented. They have sat down with us, not once, not twice. They told us that one of the northern governors is the commander of Boko Haram.
So do you think he's joking? Is that not what is still happening? Are we not seeing their legs? We saw Yerima went to Bola Tinubu and said, please pardon people that are killing you. Do you understand what that means? I mean, my night was very good. Thank you so much, Mr. K. Ward Otodiga. Thank you so much. Good morning, sir. Do you understand what I told you? I wrote it down. It's not like I just picked up my logbook now. Everything I say here, I documented, because these will be things that we will discuss when I'm writing my own book in the future. I have another one here. 1, 2, 3. This is another one. I had a couple of them upstairs. I told you right under number 1, right there. You see it? Coup. At least it's on reverse. But when you reverse it back, it's COUP, number 1. I told you that there's still tendency for coup in February 1st. And Sowore is saying the same thing just last week. Last week, according to Sowore, Tinubu ordered the sack of the service chiefs, but he paid them off with bulletproof cars, a lot of monies, houses wherever they wanted. If they want house in Abuja, go and take it. If you want house in Lagos, even if you want house in London, some of your military general lives outside London. I have met them. I can't remember. I'll have to call one of my friends, Clyde. Clyde is a builder, and we happened to drive down to A13. He was a retired military general. He lives there now with his children. Their children wanted to travel. So I had a 7-seater and they needed 2 7-seaters. So we drove down there, we picked them up, beautiful girls, young girls. They traveled and, we dropped them down there. But these are military generals that are now retired in UK. Some of them are watching me like this. Some of them are good, but majority of them are criminals. So what they do is they get good retirement package, they live here, while me and you are struggling in a 2-bedroom flat in London. This military general living. This man was living in a mansion, because they're able to fund it. They bought the house. So the only thing they're paying for now is just the services, electricity, gas, or whatever. But they've actually owned the property. They bought it. But you are there confronting an old man like Baba Akintoye, checkmating him all the time, asking him why he wants to get Yoruba Nation for you. Checkmating Nnamdi Kanu, why must he want to break Nigeria? While those that are involved in the atrocity in Nigeria are milking you on a daily basis. Let's now listen to these other videos of some of the crude theft happening in Nigeria. And this is happening on a daily basis. Let's hear this. And this is coming from News Central, and this was just 9 months ago. The headline is Nigeria oil theft. Government destroy illegal vessel. Why are they destroying it? Because they don't want to do any investigation. Nigerians should wake up. Your Nigerian security are the one in charge of the theft, of the injustice, of crime against humanity. Your life will never, never be a good one in Nigeria as long as the military, that whether they are past or present, they still have a very, very powerful in Nigeria. And that is what Showore said. Tinubu gave the SAC service chiefs benefit to avoid a coup. I told you that in February, but because I am operating from my little comfort zone here, some of you think, how does he know all these? Like I said, there is still evidence and eminence to a coup. How soon? I don't know. But that was going to happen before the election. But because because those that told us say we should say it out, they wanted us to say it out so that it will be on record. And if the coup has went ahead as then, a lot of things would have happened. Everybody knows that. But they slow it down. And that is why if you hear what Tinubu said during the ECOWAS summit, he said that we will not allow any coup to happen in Africa or West Africa. Tinubu said so. Some of you can confirm that. Tinubu said so in Guinea-Bissau, that there will not be any coup in West Africa because they have the same intelligence that we have. Tinubu knew that they were planning a coup. And if there was a coup, do you think that Tinubu will be the president? Why do you think Tinubu is giving them a good package? Let's listen to your oil theft. Nigerians should wake up. There's nothing called Nigeria. You will try to want to fix Nigeria just like your great-grandfather, your great-grandmothers. They've all died and they are buried under the 6 foot below. Some of them did not even die in a good way. Some of them did not even have a good dignity after they die. You are doing the same mistake that your own parent, your grandparent, your brothers, your uncles, your nephews, every one of them told you at some point that Nigeria is worth dying for. But today, I hope you are still thinking that Nigeria is worth dying for. We've seen footballers played for Nigeria. I saw one with the former senator Sanusi, Shehu Sani rather, not Sanusi. On his Twitter, the guy had a accident. Do you know that he was actually traveling to the NFA or NFFF, Nigerian Football invited him. He drove his vehicle. He had a motor accident. He was only given 500,000 naira and they left him abandoned. He's a footballer. He played for Nigeria. He's now bedridden. Do you know the meaning of bedridden? Pray for your governor of Ondo State. He's not in a good condition. We hope he come out of it. Akeredolu is already bedridden in Germany. He cannot even treat himself in his own territory where there is a crude oil in Ilaje. I hope they didn't kill him in advance because we know what they can do, especially if you are in that vocal position. People like us are threats on a daily basis. We know that, but we hope our Eledumare, which we believe in, I don't care whether you don't believe in them, they will protect us. against the evil forces and animals that wants to take us out. But one thing is, even if they do, the message will never stop. The Yorubas will be waking up on a daily basis. There will be more of me coming out. There will be more of us that will come out at the appropriate time. I know a lot of you are scared because of this outfit. I hope you're following what is happening in Kenya. I will tell you that a little bit more in the course of this program. There's a lot happening around the world. The world is moving. The power wants to shift, but there's a scaremongering out there. Scare them with the military in Africa so that if they try anything, wipe them out. The Kenya are revolting again. And the reason for that is the cost of living. Nigerians will revolt. You will do what you need to do. I don't have to tell you anything anymore. I've told you exactly what you need to do. But some of you are idiots. You think that I will come down and do that for you. I'm not coming anywhere. I will be here to report it when it happens. But when it comes to the Yoruba Nation one, I will be on the ground 72 hours. But when it comes to the revolution or the fighting of Nigeria, I will only be reporting it from London.
Staying with us, and now we are being joined live by one of our correspondents, that is Bernard Akede, live from the Warri Creek, where a vessel was said to have been destroyed by the Nigerian Navy. So, Bernard, if you can join me now.
Do you hear that? The Nigerian Navy destroyed a vessel. Do you think that when a crime of such happened in Europe, which I think it will never happen anyway, imagine in Scottish water, a vessel moves out with crude oil. Just think for 1 second that in Scotland, the Scottish water, a vessel just moved out on shore with loaded, unaccounted, undocumented crude oil, and the British Navy intercept it. They bring it back to the shore, they pack it there, disembark the crude oil, or maybe blow. Are you sure that you're in a country at all? Do you think that you're all in a country? Some of you don't know that you're no longer in a country. They destroy a vessel. They don't want people to know who is behind those vessels. Why destroy the vessel? We have a lot of water that can pack the vessel, and they can pack it there for as long as they find out those behind it, which country is going to, who are those behind it. But all this is reason why we are saying that you are no longer in a country. Nigeria is lost. And the military, the Navy, all the security operatives, when they put on their outfit in the morning like this, they are all criminals. And they will terrorize you, from your police to your Navy, to your Air Force, to custom, to immigration, to the airport. You go to Nigeria, as you're landing, the immigration believes that it owns you. You must start licking their ass so that you can pass into the exit. When I travel around the world, which I have not really, but the few countries I've been to, the immigration respect us. They might not give us everything that we want, subject to some of us because of the country that we are coming from. But at least they still see us as human beings, because they know that if they are doing anything, some people can record, and that could bring a bad publicity for their country. But one thing is, Nigeria must wake up. Shout out to you, my brother in Miami. I love you too much.
Destroyed by the Nigerian Navy. So, Bernard, if you can hear me now, can you tell us or bring us up to speed with what obtains in the Warri Creek as regards the vessel that has been destroyed?
Okay, Lekona, I'll say some about 15 to 20 minutes off the shore from where, or rather off, this point where we are standing here, this jetty. We're one of the ships, so one particular ship or vessel, if you like, that was apprehended by officers of the Nigerian Navy, or joint forces, the officers of the Nigerian Navy and Tantita Security Service, Nigeria Limited. Now, Tantita Security Service is the security team or the security group that was contracted by the Nigerian government to secure the pipelines. Of course, talking about the group that is owned and run by High Chief Government Tom Polo. Now, this vessel was apprehended.
Do you hear that? You know, the High Chief Tom Polo. So Tom Polo is now much powerful to find out and detect oil theft in a country that has billions for the protection of Nigeria. Don't you say that all these is like a joke? We have these military guys every year. The budget, do you know that your budget include the military, the Navy, the Air Force, and all other security? But yet, we have to give I Chief Tom Polo a private security to protect the pipeline. Are we saying that we don't have enough Nigerian military to protect the pipeline? What is their job role? What actually is their job role is now to steal the crude oil rather than protecting the pipeline. And this has been going on for the last 60 years. You can see why we are saying that the unity of this contraction called Nigeria is not going to work. I understand your feelings. I feel you as well. I understand that you love Nigeria too much. And when you hear the word, let's break Nigeria, it's like something is hitting your chest. Come on, shut up, you this young man. Who are you to tell us to come and break this beautiful country that we love so much? You're crazy. There's nothing worth dying for in Nigeria. I told you that go to Shehu Sani, the former senator from Kaduna. He posted a picture of a Nigerian footballer played for Nigeria, traveling on a request by the Nigerian Football Federation to attend maybe whatever they were doing. He had a motor accident. He's now with a spinal cord. There's nothing wrong in that. Look, people have different ailments around the world, and their government provide the facility to keep them alive for as long as possible. Somebody like that should be given a conducive house with carers 24/7. It does not cost the Nigerian government anything. Give him 5 staff. They will be changing over. One do 5 hours, they go back home. Another do 5 hours. They spend the night with him. They leave him with a very beautiful car that they can drive in if he cannot drive himself. He will have access to basic things. They will even relocate him to Abuja, where he can have a better life. Yet, he's bedridden somewhere across Nigeria, forgotten, because he thought, as at the time that he was a Nigerian footballer playing for Nigeria, invited. It was the reason why he had the motor accident, that he was invited by the NFF, the Nigerian Football Federation. Go to the page of Shehu Sani, the former senator from Kaduna. You will see his picture there. This man now is bedridden because he had a fatal accident. People have accidents here every day. Last week, Thursday, 2 people have died now in Wimbledon. They are only 8 years old. We pray for the families. There are people that have spinal cord injury in UK, but they will live for the next 30 years because they are providing the basic amenities, the basic things that they need to keep them alive. And the most important aspect of anyone that has such an injury is to make sure that they have 24 hours care. I pity many of you. You will cry. I know some of you refuse to listen to us. Every day we are out here telling you that Nigeria is not worth dying for. You keep telling me I should shut up. I should go and sit somewhere. I should stop disturbing the social media space. It's understandable. I feel your pain. You want to be in my position. I understand. I also will have been in your position. But no, I don't want to be in your position because my mom saw the foresight. My mom traveled out of Nigeria. I have told you this. I cannot change it because it's not something that is not a fact. My mom traveled out of Nigeria in 1991. But do you know that she has been traveling out of Nigeria before I was born in the 70s, or probably 78, if you want to have a little bit of idea. Crazy people. So you think that I am your problem. You think that by coming out now and telling you what I know as someone that have lived in the West for 25 years, do you think 25 years is like moi moi and a call? Even if I love Tinubu, do you think that Tinubu can resolve all these atrocities that we are discussing every day? Even Tinubu has to bribe them. Tinubu has to literally bribe the military so that they can give him that leverage until he completes his tenure by giving them package, brand new bulletproof vehicle, house wherever they want it around the world. My mom left Nigeria because the dollar. I should go and bring a dollar and put this as part of my discussion every day. Let's listen to this. I'm coming back.
And eventually it was discovered that there were liters of stolen crude oil aboard the ship. The ship was also arrested alongside the occupants of the ship. That's the crew that was on the ship, totaling about 8 in number, including the captain of the ship. While we were on the waters, officers of the Nigerian Navy parked the ship somewhere and then set it ablaze, and even shot, fired some bullets into the ship to ensure that every part of it is destroyed and demolished and cannot be reused for any purpose going further. But there was a little bit of a discrepancy. While we spoke to the captain of the alleged ship, of the ship, he said that he had nothing, or he knew nothing about the bunkering business. He said that some people from the creeks, hijacked his vessel and then forced him into using the vessel to load stolen crude. But later, there were other statements that we got claiming that he was actually a member of this particular heist. We're hoping to get clarity concerning this story and to know exactly what happened between the captain of the ship who runs the ship and the ship itself. We were also told that this ship was supposed to be heading towards Ghana after being loaded with crude oil. We've got to realize that this is just one of many of the security operations that is ongoing by both the Nigerian Navy and Tantita Security Services. As at Friday, when we arrived here, we were told that the major NNPC trunk or pipeline had about 16 illegal points where crude oil was being siphoned from and taken out of the country. As of today, we heard that the number has really increased to about 58 points that have been discovered by the security operatives. That's the joint forces of Tantita Group and, of course, the Nigerian Navy. One thing is clear, Likon, definitely this is a story that is not over yet.
This is a story that is not over yet, as we are now less than a few minutes before we wind the program to an end. Let me state clearly, this is $1. Still a new one. Very powerful money, but it's now being challenged around the world, especially with the BRICS. As many countries want to stop using these as a mode of transaction around the world. People are tired. Saudi Arabia is tired of America to dominate dollar. Already, Russia has cut out from these. China is also cutting out. South Africa wants to do the same thing. I think Nigeria wants to join them as well. So the dollarization within the next, I don't know, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, but I can assure you that these will not longer be a mode of transaction in the future, because other countries are now asking, why should we rely on a single money to be used to transact around the world? Why? Questions are coming up to that now. It's another program. I'll be discussing that later. But based on these money, which is equivalent to this, is what we spend in our own territory, the fake territory that was put together. Do you know, like I told you, so if you are not happy seeing me, because to you, I am your headache, I am your problem, I am the one that wants to destroy Nigeria. You must be crazy. You must be very, very crazy. Do you know that even my own immediate family, my mom, left Nigeria because of this? She was transacting to the tune of $60,000, $80,000, $100,000, selling and buying around the business she was operating with. She was also a secretary in Mobile Oil. Even as a secretary, she was still traveling up to Hong Kong. She has been to 23 countries. She traveled before she got married. She has been to UK a couple of times. The only difference why I have struggled in my 15 first years of UK is because my mom thought Nigeria was going to be a great country with this Naira. She decided, let me give back to every single one of you in Nigeria. Just as your own parent might have had the opportunity to give back to you in America, in any other European countries, but they will always run back to Nigeria because they have the privilege of people to be around there when they give birth, which is why we say we have our culture. My younger sister was born here in the 80s. She didn't have to go through what I have gone through. My children do not have to go through what I'm going through right now. They have the privilege. They're dressing them up for school. In the next few minutes, maximum 30 minutes, they are out of this house. If my children do not go to school today, I will receive a phone call from the school to ask why they are not in school. And I must give reason, a clear reason to indicate that that is why they are not in school. Do you know that the Nigeria that you are planning to secure and save, you ready for school? You ready? Yeah? Do you know that these dollar started to be an hindrance to my mom's business? Okay. Do you know that she then decided the time to pack up? Eh? Yeah. The remote is there. She then packed it up, decided that I would rather sacrifice to come and become something else in UK. As a businesswoman, imagine I have to forfeit everything and start a new life here in 1991. Calculate that to today. My mom left your zoo country in 1991 because of this dollar. Because of this dollar. The dollar to Naira was only going to be, it's not even 40 Naira as at the time my mom left in 1991. So you thinking that you will be a great person in Nigeria because your church and your mosque are telling you that, you're crazy. My mom was told the same thing, that Nigeria will be great. It was great at some point, but it started winding down quickly, very, very fast. And that means that in 1991, she had enough. She traveled back to London, where she now lived. I joined her 7 years literally after. It was a rough time because coming back, she had to, hey, slow it, please. She had to start as a new job as compared to the businesswoman that she's known to be. She still traveled till date. Maybe you don't know. My mom still traveled till date because it is part of our blood. That is who we are as Yoruba people. Sitting somewhere is too much. Let me warn you. If she left in 1991 and the dollar was only 40 Naira, you can decide how much the dollar is today. So think about the next 30 years where the dollar and the naira will be. Because you would think that in the 30 years that my mom left Nigeria, at least the dollar will remain $1 to 40 naira. Let's even put it as argument as $1 to 100 naira maximum. But I am sure, I don't know what the exchange rate today in Nigeria with the dollar. But I know the exchange rate with my pound and naira. It is gone over 1,000 naira. It's about 1,030 naira as of today. I pity your life as you allow the military to control your mind. I know you are all scared. Nobody wants to die. I don't want to die as well. But at the appropriate time, every single one of you will do the needful. I wish you best of luck again as I hand over my report of my transmission. You know what to do. Everybody knows what to do. But we are waiting for a miracle to drop down and start making Nigeria a great country. I know your churches have told you there will be a new Nigeria. My mom was told the same thing by the mosque until she ran away in 1991. And that led me to be here. So if you are not outside Nigeria by 1998, you will still have opportunity to travel here. Hopefully, you have enough money to be able to get yourself here. If otherwise, you will remain in Nigeria and you will do whatever needs to be done to survive. Have a very good morning. I got to go now. But be rest assured, I'll be back again with some other discussion. Nigeria is now at the verge of breakup. It will break. I know some of you don't like the word break. It will dissolve. It will disintegrate. But one thing is, everyone will suffer before it happens in reality. Have a very great day. Bye for now. Mom. Mom. Mom.